Welcome to Mongolia and to its capital city Ulaanbaatar, which once again plays host to the Genghis Khan Judo Grand Prix. After the success of last year's event, the city now welcomes judo again. The tournament will take place just 1 week before the country's biggest annual sporting festival, Nadam. And what better way to warm up for a feast of Mongolia's best domestic sports than with its most celebrated international sport, judo. The Buyant Ukar Stadium would be the venue, and with the Olympic qualification now in full flow, fighters had come from all over the globe to compete. At the draw, all eyes were on some of the big names and surprise entries on show, some of which will be contenders for World Championship glory at the end of August in Chelyabinsk. But for the home crowd, it was all about watching the sport they love, judo. And they had plenty to cheer for, as the nation's best athletes would be in action before their very eyes. All of them hoping to be flying the Mongolian flag highest in Ulaanbaatar. And we start with one of those heroes at under 48 kilograms. World champion Munkbat was the woman many in the crowd had come to see. In Rio de Janeiro, she became the first Mongolian woman ever to become a judo world champion when she arm-locked Japan's Asami in the final. And in doing so, she transformed herself into a national heroine, raising the profile of judo amongst Mongolian women to unforeseen heights. In Ulaanbaatar, she was back competing in front of her home crowd for the first time since her historic gold, and many budding champions had come to watch their superstar in action. Her opponent in the final would be a Korean, Jeong, who had the seemingly unachievable task of dethroning Munkbat in front of her home crowd. But if Munkbat's victory seemed destined, then nobody had told Jeong, as she proceeded to outgrip and out-attack the world champion to earn herself the lead on penalty points, approaching the last 30 seconds of the contest. Munkbat had to find a way to make something happen, but with the contest in its final stages, would she be able to do it? Well, Munkbat is having to come forward. She's 2 shidos down here, and Jeong is having the match of her life. She really is. The world champion, she needs something major. 2 shidos on the board, and Jeong still coming forward. She's just got to stay up and keep... And she's on her back now. Munkbat, can she come through? Yes, she can. Now she needs to get out of there, because Jeong, that is not a good place to be. Not against this lady anyway. There's the Sangaku turn. Can she get the balance? Yes, she can. Outside Komi there for the world champion. Munkbat turns the outside Komi. Sangaku Katami it is. And Jeong made a mistake there. She really did. And it's cost her dearly. She was going to win that, and the seconds were ticking away. And, well, she went on to her hands and knees, and she has now paid the price. She looks up at the ceiling, well, that was a mistake. This crowd love it. Sangaku, that's what she was looking for. 20 seconds was ticking down, and she was losing the match, Munkbat. And the world champion turns it around in front of her home crowd.
We are all very happy that this competition is being organised and run in our country. It's great to get a chance to compete on our home tatami in front of Mongolian supporters. Even though I was losing in the final by penalties, I was always sure that I could win. I'm very happy that I was able to change it around in the last seconds and get the result.
At under 70 kilograms, Sendayush made sure that Munkbat wasn't the only woman to win gold on home turf, and she took on another Korean, Hwang, in the final. Midway through the bout, Sendayush struck, forcing her opponent down and applying an arm lock to earn a submission and a spot at the podium in Ulaanbaatar. 2 golds for Mongolia's ever-developing women's team. How many potential world champions do they have in the ranks? Moving across to the men, and at under 73 kilograms, the home nation had another shot at gold, as veteran veteran former world champion Hashpatar contested the final against the man of the day in the category, Tachilashvili. The Georgian had produced some scintillating Ippon judo to reach the final and looked as though nobody would stand between him and gold. The final itself was a tense affair, but Tachilashvili had more in the tank than the dwindling Hashpatar. Took the victory on penalties to disappoint the home crowd and take his second Grand Prix gold of the year. Down one weight, and Mongolia had another shot at matching their women, when perhaps their best judo stylist, Davidorj, took to the tatami. Once touted for greatness, Davidorj has yet to do it on the biggest stage, but nevertheless looked impressive on home soil as he reached the final. This perfectly executed Tayatoshi a hint of the feats of which he is capable. His opponent would be the young Japanese fighter Takajo. Having missed out on a place in Japan's World Championship team, he was out to prove his worth, and did just that in reaching the final against Davidorj. Their matchup would be a fascinating encounter, and it looked to be going the way of the Mongolian, as Davidorj sneaked the lead on penalties. But Takajo never gave up, and in the dying stages of the contest, launched a drop shoulder throw that scored a Wazari and gave him the last laugh. A great win for the Japanese youngster. And so, at under 60 kilograms, Mongolia's male gold medal hopes rested on the shoulders of Gambat. Ever the consistent performer in the weight, the world number 4 looked to be relishing the chance to impress on home soil as he treated the audience to a display of his groundwork skills. First strangling, and then holding to storm his way into the final. There he would take on Takapataki of Brazil, who himself had some dangerous tricks up his sleeve throughout the eliminations. Could Takapataki disappoint Gambat's gold medal hopes? A minute and a half into this final, Gambat, one of the most consistent in the category. Kata is the most consistent, but Takapataki, left-handed fighter, and has to be careful of the edge. Sumigate there from Gambat. So quick, and he's got good transition as well. There was the Sumigate, couldn't quite control it. Brazilian manages to do a flip onto his front. Now Gambat coming forwards. He's got Yoko Satemi as well. He changes to the other flank sometimes, Gambat. And there it is! Oh, that was close. Straight on top. Like I said, he has got good transition. Looking then, double lapel turn. Can he get it? Now can he get the leg out? Good Newaza as well. There's the Yoko Satemi there. Drives off the back leg. Then straight onto the back. Well, there's Hashpatar, former world champion, looking on to his teammate. This crowd, really well-educated crowd to judo. They're calling almost every score as it happens, and before it happens as well. Koichi! Oh! What a beautiful Koichi Gary there. That was absolutely magnificent. The crowd love it. And he switched sides, didn't he? Left Koichi. He drove off the back leg and he just pile-drived him absolutely onto the points of his shoulders. If you ever want to see an Ippon, that was it. Beautiful stuff. And Gambat wins the title. He was the last man to score on Takato, but can he be a major threat to him at the coming World Championships?
I'm very happy that I was able to get the gold medal in this Judo Prix, which is organised in my homeland. It felt so great to be able to let the national anthem be played inside the arena.
Back across to the female weights, and at under 52 kilograms, it was the Chinese who had their anthem played inside the arena as Ma came through the pack to take gold. Her opponent in the final was Germany's Prix, and halfway through the contest, things were decided on the ground as Ma wrestled her opponent down and secured a pin to earn the victory and the title of champion in Ulaanbaatar. At under 63 kilograms, there was more gold for the travelling Chinese women, as Yang also took the top spot. Her opponent in the final was Jung of Korea, and she was also dispatched on the ground. Ruthless persistence eventually paid dividends for Yang, as she was able to secure the Korean in a hold to score Ippon, earning her nation's second gold of the tournament. At under 57 kilograms, there was a surprise victory for a 20-year-old Canadian, Boscheman Pinard. After reaching the final, she faced off against Japan's Otomo. With a scoreboard blank, the Canadian forced Otomo back towards the edge. She then feinted backwards before reversing the attack to pull her opponent forwards and land her on her side for what would be a decisive yuko, and a first World Circuit gold for Boscheman Pinard. And in the heaviest female weight of over 78 kilograms, it was a Korean, Kim, who took home gold after she faced off against Turkey's Kata, who was backed by some vocal support inside the arena. Still, it wasn't enough to push her on to victory, as Kim's higher attack rate saw her concede penalty after penalty and eventually suffer disqualification. The win moved Kim up to number 5 in the world rankings. The under 81 kilo category saw the debut entry of Korea's former world champion at under 73 kilograms, Wang. Having fallen from grace in his old category, the Korean was looking sharp in his new one here in Ulaanbaatar and produced some judo reminiscent of the Wang of old en route to the final. Once prophesied to become one of the best ever, Wang's career has stalled badly, and the move up is just the kickstart he needs. His opponent in the final would be Japan's Nagashima. Would Wang have the perfect start at under 81 kilograms, or would Nagashima spoil his day? Well, Wang, just behind, he's got 2 Shidos on the board. Nagashima's got 1. Nagashima backing him up all the time. Looking for the Uchimata, looking for the line. Wang, do left and right. Taitoshi, oh, there's the right Taitoshi. Beautiful score. He's into the hole. But Nagashima straight out. That was a real opportune Taitoshi there. Had him round the back. Kochi first, and then just flicked the leg across. Beautiful Taitoshi. And he's now ahead. 2-time world champion at under 73 kilograms. Now fighting at under 81s and, well, looking very, very sharp as well. Just sticks the leg across. There's the Kouchi. There's the Taitoshi. Nagashima is now fighting. He needs a big score. And he's trying to get the head down here. And look at Wang. He's struggling, Wang. He really is. He's very, very tired. And the Japanese coach there saying you've got to go forwards because Wang is struggling. One more penalty on the board and then he's really going to be in trouble. Wang, head down, defensive posture. There's the Uchimata. That's what he's looking for, Nagashima. Got the sleeve, got the lapel, got control of the head. Now just over halfway the contest. And Wang is definitely going to get another penalty. I'm almost sure of it. Wang, got to work on his condition. Probably that's where he's struggling now. There it is. And look at that. The crowd, very knowledgeable. Counting up the Shidos. One more and it's all over. What a shame because he scores the Wazari and there's a Taitoshi there from Nagashima. Nagashima needs to pile on the pressure. Wang needs to dig deep. There's Joe, former World Olympic champion, saying you've got to go forwards, you've got to attack. But certainly Nagashima in better condition. Oh, tries for the Uranagi. Just goes to show that big throwers, always dangerous. Look at that. Full commitment there from Wang. What a match this is! What a final! Nagashima going forwards, never giving up. Just 28 seconds left on the clock. 3 Shidos there to Wang. Tries for the Kouchi. Now the Ouchi Kosoto from Wang. Oh, the crowd loving it. Wang, head down. He is absolutely shattered. He's out on his feet. And Nagashima just wants to go forwards. Nagashima needs a Wazari or an Ippon, of course, to win this, because he'll win it because of the penalties for Wang. Goes over the top again. Catches the sleeve. 4 seconds. Okuruma! Oh, and he gets the score. Wow, for me that was probably a Yuko, but he's been given the Wazari. And that has won him the match. Nagashima pulls it out with 3 seconds to go. And look at that, they're counting it. 3 seconds on their fingers there to say he's just done it. And Nagashima, take your hat off to him. He never gave up. That Okuruma, whether it was a Yuko or a Wazari, he got given the Wazari, which means he wins the title. But Wang was out on his feet. He'll have to work at his condition in this new weight category, but it was still a magnificent performance from Wang. Even better from Nagashima because he never gave up.
I was behind and running out of time, so I gave it everything I had. I'm really pleased that I was able to come from behind and win.
At under 90 kilograms, the favourite for gold was Russia's world number 4, Denisov. The Russian was here hoping to get a boost going into the World Championships on home turf in August, but suffered a shock defeat against Japan's Shimiwada in the eliminations. Denisov would have to fight for bronze. A bronze which he duly won with an Uchimata for Ippon against Germany's Odenthal. But Denisov had come for gold. The man on form in Ulaanbaatar was Georgia's new young star, Gaviliashvili. After some ruthless groundwork, he proceeded to show off his throwing ability, obliterating his Uzbek opponent with a huge trademark Surigoshi for Ippon. He then once again used groundwork to progress to the final and show what great all-round ability he possesses. The Georgian is still only 18 years old and would be fighting for his 2nd Grand Prix gold of the year, his 4th World Circuit medal. The man standing in his way was Hungary's ever-improving Toth, and the two fought to a deadlock. After 25 seconds of golden score, Toth went for the kill. But Gaviliashvili was waiting and counted to land Toth on his side and score a Yuko. The smallest of scores, but enough to mean the difference between victory and defeat for Gaviliashvili and Toth. What a future this young judoka has ahead of him. Can Gaviliashvili conquer the world? In the heaviest weight of over 100 kilograms, there was a 3rd gold for Japan as Shinshinui topped the podium. His run to the final saw him show off some wonderful Ippon judo, but unfortunately there would be no such display in the final, as his opponent had to withdraw due to injury, giving Shinshinui the win by default. Our final female category saw the return of North Korea's world champion Seoul, who had brought a sizable crowd of fans with her to Ulaanbaatar. Her World Championship gold left judo pundits dumbfounded as to how North Korea continued to produce such wonderful athletes, and in her elimination bouts she looked as impressive as ever as she reached the final. There she took on Germany's Maltsen and waited until golden score to finally make her move. Victory for Seoul. Joy for North Korea's travelling judo fans. Will Seoul become a double world champion in Chelyabinsk? And so we come to our final category, the men's under 100 kilograms. We saw the entry of Olympic champion and former world champion Kavalev of Russia. Since his victory in London 2 years ago, the Russian has been in the wilderness and was not in Rio to defend his World Championship title last year. But with another Worlds just around the corner on home soil, he had chosen Ulaanbaatar as a timely comeback. Before his hiatus, he was one of the biggest throwers in the category. Here in Mongolia, it looked like he'd never left as he destroyed his opponents. This monstrous Sirtoshi against Switzerland's Orle, a good example of his formidable throwing ability. Kabelev through to the final. There he would face off against the form fighter at the end of last year, Prix. The German looked back to his dangerous best in Ulaanbaatar, winning both on the ground in Newaza and from standing with this enormous throw to match Kabalev's. The final would have judo fans on the edge of their seats. Who would come out on top? Both these men on good form. Kabelev, the reigning Olympic champion, been out for 2 years, but back now. World Championship just round the corner. This man, Prix, well, he's one of the up-and-coming stars. He's got to be a star, and he's very dangerous as well. Kabelev will have to be careful. Kabelev almost looks casual when he starts, but when he explodes in, my goodness me, the biggest thrower in the category. Look at Prix, though, straight into the attack. Now looking for the turnover. Kabelev realises the danger. To the crowd, and look at that, Detlef Fulch, former world champion himself, shouting to Prix, gotta go forwards, but be careful with that big arm over the top. Look at that, Surigoshi. Kabelev just defends it. Now looking for the Newaza himself. Big Surigoshi there. Goes across the wrong side of the hips. Carl Richard Prix. Osodagari, and he's got to be careful when he puts that arm over the top there. With this man, he is the biggest thrower in the category. And the crowd's absolutely loving this display of judo. Two guys going for Ippon. Kabelev got the grip, and he's underneath the Sinagi. Oh! There it is. What an Ippon. Kabelev, 2 hands on. That's when he's dangerous. And Prix, well, he could feel it. Well, he didn't kill it dead, did he? That's what he should have done. Just pulled back from it, tried to ride it. The worst thing you can do with this man, because Kabelev dropped right the way through between the legs, and he just drove off the back leg. Brilliant stuff from the Olympic champion. That's what he won the Olympic title with, and he is one of the best in the world at that drop Sinagi, and especially at under 100 kilograms. This man is awesome. After 2 years out, he's back with a vengeance. And with the World Championships just around the corner, he's got to be going there as one of the favourites to, well, get his world title back.
I felt great today. I never imagined that it would be so easy and that I would win with so many Ippons. I guess I'm just in good shape right now. And that's why I was able to execute so many throws. Actually, I'm yet to make the squad for Chelyabinsk, but if I do get the nod, it will be great to compete on home soil. In fact, I really want to win there. So I was fighting here with that in mind. So if head coach Ezio Gamba puts me in, then I'll give it my all, since it's always so nice competing at home.
Well, that's it from this Judo Grand Prix in Mongolia. Once again, the Buyan Ukar Stadium played host to a great tournament. Munkbak got gold on home turf. Gamba matched it for the men. Wang looked back to his best, but will need more stamina if he wants to make it at 81 kilograms. And for Kabelev, it was business as usual. Will he be double world champion in Chelyabinsk? Join us next from Tumin, Russia, for the last Grand Slam before the World Championships.